I don't think you can say that Mudryk would help you win the league. He hasn't played football for long enough for you to justify.
All right. Let me rephrase this. If he helps Chelsea go up the league, and Arsenal don't win the league, so you can say, oh, look at those performances there. That's what he would have done for Arsenal. Is it worth the extra 5 million that they decided not to bid?
Can I ask
they bid in 95 million their deal.
It was more the payment structure.
Yeah, but I'm saying the overall deal was 95. Chelsea's was 100.
Let me ask you a question.
Break the bank, win the league. Sorry, you have to win the Premier League. It's the only thing that matters.
Mudryk
Leandro
get ahead
Trossard,
of
man.
Gabriel Martinelli this season?
Potentially. I'm not gonna lie.
Does he?
And it's an option.
I don't know if
you're in
Arsenal
Europa
fans would
League.
agree.
You're in Europa League. You're in
I don't know
FA
if Arsenal
Cup.
fans would
You're in the
agree.
Premier League, and you're playing 2 games a week at some point.
You're making as if Leandro Trossard is like a half-bit player. Leandro Trossard has been a very vital point.
I'm not making it. I'm making it out that Mudryk was their first choice option, and therefore they thought that was the best choice for them. You get your first choice and you give yourself the best opportunity.
Yeah, but there's a chat here which completely backs up kind of the point I'm making from Baldor, who said overspending is a thing because clubs have got a budget. Arsenal got Zinchenko, Jesus, Saliba and Martinelli for a similar fee. That's mad. And I think that this is where Arsenal have actually learned, and I commend Arsenal. You know, in the past, they were going and signing Pepe for 75 million. They were giving Ozil a bumper contract. They were giving Aubameyang ridiculous money. And what did that get back for them? Nothing but mud and just a poor thing. They have learned.
But it's the same board that signed Zinchenko, Jesus, and
but you can see how,
and it was the third one, Odegaard, who also wanted Mudryk. So there's logic to what they're trying to do.
They were not willing to do what they have done in the past, and they thought, okay, maybe they were, but at the same time, they also weren't, because if they would have, then he would have been an Arsenal player, and there was something he obviously wasn't budging on in terms of Arsenal and Edu, which made him go to Chelsea.
No, but
because it was all set up for the player to go, and I think long term, what they are doing is buying bit by bit in this puzzle and building the puzzle, and I think that Trossard is a far better signing because he is also a proven player in this league. He can walk straight into that side and do a job for you.
I'm not saying Trossard's a bad signing.
Great debate.
I
actually agree with both of you.
And this is not me saying it from a bitter place. I'm actually genuinely commending.
Let me give you an example, and it's not exactly the same. But take Manchester United for example. Ten Hag in the summer gets Lisandro Martinez, Anthony, Casemiro. I think those are the
That
three.
was the other. I knew that. Sorry, I was thinking Casemiro, Anthony. I was like, no, there's another.
Lisandro Martinez.
Player. Yeah, and that was it.
Whichever way you want to spin it, his decisions in the summer and throughout the season have been correct. Getting players in, getting rid of players out, the way we're playing, where we are. If he wants Gakpo in the January, you get him Gakpo. But you get him Weghorst, and then people will spin it to say, well, you know what? He's a different option. If Gakpo's there, Rashford, where does this person play? And Weghorst may score the last-minute winner against Arsenal, and then he gets us into second and wins the Europa League, and it may all work out. But it doesn't mean that it wouldn't have been worth breaking the bank, or that Gakpo would have been not the better signing, but it would have been wrong to go and spend more money on Gakpo, because the manager must have a reason why he wanted him as the first choice. And the previous evidence suggests the manager knows what he wants. So in the Arteta case, he knows that there must be a reason why him and Edu were willing to spend 95 million.
I agree with that.
For 95 million they were, not 100, and the structure was different, but they were willing to spend 95 million. It doesn't...
Yeah, I actually genuinely think you're both right. Sorry for sitting on the fence. What I mean by that is, the important thing was that Arsenal didn't do nothing. Now, Arteta, let's just call it how it is. He wanted Mudryk. Arsenal wanted to go to a ridiculous fee. He wanted him. And on 25, 30 minutes evidence today, you could see why. And that's why I'm salty, because my word, does he look a player. Already, Liverpool looked like winning it in that second half. Mudryk comes on, Chelsea looked like winning it. He changed it for them. But, Abbi's right. They were willing to go to a certain level, probably beyond what they really thought it was going to take.
Yeah.
Chelsea, I know what you mean. It's not that much more, so could they have done it? But then you don't, maybe structures of payments or fees.
And maybe
or
Chelsea put another 10 million on top, and then
maybe they were quicker. That's another thing. This is a great podcast, Arscast. I think they were saying that. Another factor is Arsenal and Shakhtar have probably been dragging on so long that Shakhtar were like, we'd rather just do the deal with Chelsea. There's lots of reasons why it didn't happen. But Arsenal responded by going and getting Trossard quite quickly for a very reasonable fee, and he covers a lot of positions. Now, on the one hand, you want your Luis Diaz that levels up Liverpool and adds a different dimension and is class from the off. But then and I'm not comparing us to Leicester. When Leicester won the league in that January, they didn't go and sign someone who went straight in their team, I don't think, unless I remember it wrong. I think they signed Damari Gray, who just another good squad player. Or, when Chelsea signed Cuadrado, good player, but they had their team, but he was just another. So hopefully Trossard can just be that extra layer, that's something else, that just a different flavour to this Arsenal team. And maybe gives us a bit more. So I think there's different ways to approach it.
I do agree. I hear it, but I do think the Mudryk signing for me would have definitely made more of a difference. And I do hear the risk factor obviously being lower with Trossard. I think it's more of a safe bet, obviously Premier League proven, international, a lot older. But sometimes that is the benefits of a risk. High risk, high reward. And I look at Mudryk and I'm like, just from the kind of few clips and the Champions League games that you saw, you're like, there is something there. The question is, can he translate it? I would have definitely, in my eyes, taken the gamble and paid the extra 10, 15 million, whatever, to go and get that Mudryk, because for me it says, A, you're backing the manager in his number one targets as well. B, I hear what you're saying with Damari Gray just adds to the team and maybe just a bit of quality to back out, but what better than having that X factor quality to come in and make the difference, where you're thinking, all right, we got Martinelli, Saka, and they're killing it, but then we could bring Mudryk off bench. Ain't no one trying to see that. And I think that was like,
are you looking
that
to
was a scary thing.
£100 million on a player? If you're Arsenal, I'm not talking about Chelsea. If you're Arsenal, to bring on £100 million off the bench,
and I get it. I think
once
they've had their
he'll be starting soon. I'm telling you.
That's what worries me. It probably would have.
But that's where this back end of the season, you almost use him as an impact player. If they now secure the title with him becoming an impact player, now it's like, all right, we've seen what you can do. Next season now we can switch the formation around or whatever. But I felt like this would have been an adaptation period for him. You're the big money signing. There's not really that much pressure midway through the season as well. Similar like an Arshavin effect, I would have imagined. Just come in, pop in a little appearance here and there, get us a little hat-trick there. You're good for the season. Kulusevski did that for us last year.
But I think Trossard has the ability to be that.
I look at Trossard and I'm like, I wonder if Brighton was his level. I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of times where players, sometimes I feel like they try and play above their levels, and I think someone like Drinkwater or something like that, I'm like, bro, you were at Leicester. That's fine. That's your level. It's like Zaha as well. I don't know if Zaha is a top 6 player.
Trossard
I think
is
Zaha,
very good.
Palace, legend. Antonio, West Ham, legend.
Would Trossard, will, I guess a prediction, Trossard ever be Arsenal first choice?
Like week in, week out.
I would say no.
You've got to say, because Jesus, Saka and Martinelli are only getting better and better, and Nketiah's filled in brilliantly for Jesus. I get the scepticism, and then you've got Smith Rowe, who's still to come back from injury properly. But I would think, sorry to bring it up, that performance in the North London derby, if it were Trossard leading the line over Nketiah, I think it's the same performance. I think if it's Trossard on the left over Martinelli, I think it's the same performance. So I definitely think over a season where we can't just play the second team in the Europa League, hopefully we're in the Champions League next year, it's looking good, you've got to be smarter with your squad, and you've got to go, you know what, and we just signed this centre-back, Kivior. I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of him. So we brought in Kivior, left-side centre-back, 20 million. You've got to think that in the Champions League next year groups, Arteta's happy to go, all right, Saliba and Kivior tonight against a very, Dortmund at home. Yeah. That's the level of rotation. So
he's good enough to play in Arsenal starting 11.
That's what I think.
Not just as impact player.
But I think the difference.
I think he is good to rotate in and maintain the level play.
I don't disagree personally. I don't disagree.
If you look at the teams at the top though, over the last year or two with City and Liverpool, the one quality they had last year, for example, you get Jota off. All right, we'll bring Luis Diaz on. You bring Salah off. We'll bring Mane on. It was like they had, even with City, that constant wave after wave. I feel like when you bring off Martinelli and it's Trossard, or a Saka and a Trossard, it's not the same level. And I'm not saying Trossard is mid, but I just don't know if he's the caliber where he can demand a week in, week out spot.
You know what the difference I would say between a Trossard and a Saka, Martinelli and Mudryk, from what I've seen of Mudryk, is the individual brilliance. I think Trossard fits into Arsenal and it will work, because the way you're playing is brilliant. But there's going to be games, and I'm not saying, again, when you cost 25 million or whatever, you don't expect that from him. But if you're going for the big trophies, the Premier League in the future, Champions or whatever, individual brilliance often wins those games.
Facts.
Mudryk, from what I've seen today, I didn't watch any of you lot's compilations because I was just thinking Arsenal seem to be getting this good player. I'm not watching it. But what I saw today, he's got some individual brilliance. Martinelli has shown that at times. Saka shows that consistently. Trossard fits in, and I think he becomes one of the players that just work. You can work around it, and he doesn't look out of place, but he's not someone who's going to win the game.
It's
for
so
you. If you get what-
interesting.
I agree. I agree.
Because I think I'm with
I think
you.
you're mad. I think that Trossard is a really good signing. I think it's a really smart signing. And in terms of being individually good, I mean, my guy scored a hat-trick at Anfield earlier in the season.
Everyone scores a hat-trick at Anfield.
Well, nowadays. But it's not the point. I think it's a really smart signing.
Yeah.
And if Tottenham would have pulled their finger out and not bid 12 million, he would have signed for Tottenham. And I think that
I'll
equally
be
would
honest
have
with
been
you, if he signed for us, I wouldn't have gotten my juices flowing or anything.
I think it would have been. I think we would have been in a better situation than we are now.
Okay, you signed Trossard.
Yeah.
He doesn't start for us.
Trossard only starts for you now because Son's been so bad.
Facts.
But not been peak. Son at his best, Kane, Kulusevski
Doesn't get in.
He comes in and helps out, and I think that's really
But
what
I'm
I think.
not
He comes
bothered
in and
about
helps.
what's going to happen in 3 months. I'm talking about now, and I want need to have someone in now that can create something and that can put the ball in the back of the net. And if I look at how Tottenham are, they're completely unbalanced. You're literally playing with 8 players that can do something because Son, Lloris, Dyer, Emerson. If they're in the team, you're already 4 down. You might as well have 7. So you're already at disadvantage. I don't care if he's £10 million
No,
or
listen,
he's 100 million.
I think he would have been a good signing for you.
To come in that can do a job straight
I think he would have
away.
been a good signing for a lot of teams in the top 6.
Defending Arsenal so much. This is ridiculous.
I think it would have been a good signing.
I
but
think he's a really good signing.
but if you put Mudryk
You've
and
seen Mudryk
Trossard,
for 20 minutes.
he's 21 years old.
Okay, and that's fine, but you've seen Mudryk play for 20 whole
I've
minutes.
seen it all.
You're losing
We'll
your
take
head
the gamble.
over.
Yeah, get the gamble.
High risk,
high reward.
You know the biggest difference between Mudryk and Trossard? I think Trossard can, in tight space and in tight moments, do it. He's got the quick feet. He scores goals with both feet. I think I heard he's had as many shots with his left foot as he had his right foot since he's arrived in the Premier
Trossard?
League. Yeah, he scored. We did a breakdown on
Both-footed,
AFTV. 9 goals with his left.
Yeah,
15 with his
both-footed.
Both
right.
as bad as each other.
Scored against all the big 6. Multiple goals against City, Tottenham, Liverpool, Chelsea. I think he can be a big moment a big moments player when Arsenal need it. I think a big difference, and again I go back to the North London derby where Spurs came into that second half. We weathered it, but they came back into it. Now, in that situation, bringing on Trossard, you probably, like I said earlier, maintain that performance level we got. But I think if Mudryk comes on in that game, 3 or 4-0, because I think he just
And that's all I'm saying.
cares. But that might be the
It's
difference.
like- I'm not
you're
saying-
competing with City. You're not competing
Yeah.
with Brighton and Newcastle to get into the top 4. You're competing with City
Facts.
to win the. Look at the.
I'm delighted with Trossard,
Of course,
I
I said,
really am.
no,
I
I'm
think
not saying
you
Trossard's
should
a bad
be.
signing,
Bro.
but at the top level, the margins are even slimmer.
But you're-
One second, Abby. You don't play City on the weekend.
Yeah.
Not the weekend, on the midweek. They had De Bruyne on the bench, Foden on the bench.
But we're not talking about Tottenham because it's a stupid conversation.
It's not about that. It's about City. They had Foden, De Bruyne, and Cancelo on
Yeah.
the bench. That's what could potentially win the title. The fact that they could beat Tottenham. Don't get it twisted. Tottenham is still a good side in relation to the Premier League.
In response to that is basically
At 2-0 down.
You know he's of De Bruyne quality, and I get that.
I'm not saying he's
But
of De Bruyne quality.
But that's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying that's the quality they've got. They don't even have to start those
But-
two guys,
but
and they still come back from 2-0
But you're
down.
talking, and listen, Mudryk could go on and be a brilliant Premier League player. But I'm saying you just need to calm down because you are talking about
Premier
Mudryk.
League's on the line. You can't calm
But I'm
down.
saying
This might be their best chance ever. You know.
Of course it
I
is.
tell you what, if he manages to get
We're here to
Chelsea,
stay.
if he manages to get Chelsea to finish in the top 4, I will hold my hands up and say Arsenal should have.
I hope you ain't holding your hands. I hope you ain't.
What happens if you
I
win the
hope
league
you
or
ain't
not.
holding your hands up this season
However-
because I hope they don't get top 4.
No, and I hope they don't get top 4, and I hope they don't win the league. Fine, but if he does, and he has the most unbelievable 6 months, I will turn around and I will say, do you know what? I was wrong. He was worth every penny. But you have seen 20 whole minutes.
Got a good 20 minutes that
Are you
was.
watching the Ukrainian league week in, week out?
No,
when he was, no,
never.
So you have seen
Champions
a
League.
footballer who
He got-
has been touted around in the summer for 20 million, 30 million pounds,
I'm gonna
right?
name 2 players who got standing ovation at the Bernabeu:
Right. Yeah.
Ronaldinho
Okay.
and Mudryk.
Yeah, that's
Del
fine.
Piero
But
as well,
you're
Del Piero.
you're losing.
I just threw a number out there.